This is Modern Photo Solutions, helping you find modern solutions for life's photographic journey. Taking you from photo overwhelm to photo fabulous in just a few taps. Your story matters. It's time to start telling it. Hey everyone, welcome to Modern Photo Solutions. I'm Steph Clay. And I'm here today with Melanie Day, and I'm so excited to have her here. Melanie is a mom of 3 kiddos and a basketball player who played for UCLA and BYU, and she's also a basketball junkie. And she is a cancer victim. Melanie can be found at 5yearstolive.org and on Instagram at Melanie Day. Hi, Melanie.
Hi, how's it going?
Great. Thank you so much for being here today.
I'm so excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I am really excited for my listeners to get to know you better and to hear your message because you are so inspiring.
Well, thank you. I'm just excited to be here. So Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Okay, so let's jump into this. Your blog is 5yearstolive.org, and your tagline on that blog is awesome. And it is inspiration to live life to the fullest from the perspective of a cancer victim. And let's share with our listeners a little bit about your journey. You were diagnosed with cancer in 2013?
Yeah.
Okay, and you were pregnant?
I was pregnant. I just found out I was pregnant a few weeks before that. So the diagnosis and the news that I was pregnant were very close.
The bitter and the sweet, my goodness.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, so I found out I was pregnant. We were so excited. We wanted to have, I was older when I got married, and so we wanted to have as many kids as we could as fast as possible. And that's what we tried. And so I have 3 kids that are a year and a half apart. And so we're so excited to be pregnant. And I just started having pain in my breast. And I went into the emergency room. They, immediately said I need to just make sure it's not cancer. So I had, we were actually in Colorado the summer before my husband's last year of law school, and he was going to law school in Idaho. I had to go all the way back to Idaho just to get tested because of insurance issues. So when I found out that there was a possibility of cancer, I just knew. I just knew that I had cancer. And so I went back, got tested. Sure enough, I had cancer.
Wow.
And honestly, when I first found out I had cancer, I thought I would have to abort. I was devastated because I thought, I wouldn't be able to have this baby. So that is what I expected. But I was pleasantly surprised that you can go through chemo and cancer treatment while you're pregnant. And I have a healthy baby boy to this day who's 3.5 years old that really is a wild kid, but he's healthy as can be. So I just feel so lucky, feel so blessed that I have this little miracle baby.
For sure. The miracles of modern medicine, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so you find out that you have cancer and start treatment.
Yeah, so because it was an aggressive, my cancer was very aggressive. It was growing fast. I was in a lot of pain, which most people don't know or most people assume that cancer is not painful. Well, mine was, because the tumor was so large. It was just putting a lot of pressure on my breast. And so we started chemo right away. I had to wait a week or 2 to start chemo because you have to be in your 2nd trimester, and I was about 10 weeks when I found out. And so I had to wait a couple weeks, and in that time it was just nonstop doctor's appointments, testing, meeting with all kinds of doctors and specialists. It was honestly really exhausting. It was, full days of doctor appointments back to back to back. So
Wow.
once I started chemo, I was in my second trimester, and it was very rough. I was doing adriamycin cytoxin. They call it AC chemo, or the red devil. The
Wow.
devil it is. It's very rough. My white blood cell count my immune system was basically non-existent. I got down to zero so many times. And so I had to have blood transfusions. I spent a lot of time in the hospital, just staying away from people, honestly, and
Wow.
getting hydrated. And the nurses there just took care of me. I was living in Moscow, Idaho, while my husband was going to law school there. And it's a small town. I actually feel like I was so blessed to be in that little town at that time because I wasn't a number to them. I was a unique case, and they really took care of me. And I spent so much of my time at the hospital that I became friends with the nurses, and I actually had a spot. It's funny because whenever I would check into the ER, they would, welcome me back. And then they would put me in the same room in the labor and delivery floor because that's the cleanest area in a hospital. So that's where I stayed to be away from other sick people.
Wow.
But they had this corner room in the labor and delivery floor that they saved for me.
Wow.
They never put any women in there. They saved it for me because they knew I'd be coming back at some point. And so they kept it clean, and it was in the corner, kind of away. And that's where I stayed, and I always had to have a special diet. I was neutropenic, so I couldn't have fresh produce, which is kind of funny because it's like you think you want to eat healthy, but there I was not able to eat, fresh fruits and vegetables because of the risk. So I spent a lot of time there, and eventually I made it through all the chemo rounds. They had to actually give me more chemo to last my whole pregnancy so that I wasn't without any treatment, if that makes sense. So usually you do 4 rounds of AC chemo, but I ended up doing 6. And it's every 3 weeks, and it extended it out so I can last my whole pregnancy while being on treatment. And then about a month before I gave birth, I had a mastectomy to get the cancer out. And they got the cancer out with clear margins. It was successful. It was a very large tumor. It was basically the size of my whole breast.
Wow.
And I had I had a C-section the day after Christmas with my little boy. It was just a really rough time. I look back on it, and while I'm going through it, while you're going through stuff, you don't realize just it was a really rough time, but I was just surviving every day and just.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. You're in survival mode, just trying
Yeah.
to get, and then you can, when you have time to stop and take a breath and look back and go, wow, this
For sure.
is hard.
For sure, yeah. My husband that whole summer, I found out in June that I had cancer. He had just started his internship in Colorado 2 weeks prior. And he spent the whole summer in Colorado by himself. He didn't have a car. We only had one car.
Wow.
And so he rode his bike to work, and I don't know how he got around. I don't know how he managed. But he was alone by himself while his wife was going through cancer treatment. And then when his internship was over, he came back. He finished his last semester of law school. He studied for the bar. He looked for a job. He had so much pressure on him. And just, I can't imagine. And then, so he finishes his law school. He finds a job. So a week after my son's born, my son was born the day after Christmas. So a week later, he goes to his job in northern Nevada in this little town, and I actually move back home with my parents in Irvine, California with my kids. So here I am flying to California with this week-old baby, And I am like this bald, ridiculous looking woman
And you just had
on this
surgery
plane.
too.
I just had surgery.
Wow.
And so I stayed with my parents so that they can help take care of me while my husband finished studying for the bar, took the bar, and started his job. I didn't want to go to a small town to finish treatment because I still had more chemo to do. So a few weeks after I gave birth, I started another type of chemo called Taxol chemo, and then I had radiation, which was pretty gross. My skin was like I was like a burn victim on my chest. So I did all that for 4 months, and then I finally moved to Nevada with my husband, and we were united, and I just started to heal from there. So I was still on, and I still did infusions, but it was not hard chemo. And then I actually found out I was cancer free a few months later. So I spent a year being cancer free and was, so excited, moving on with my life and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I just felt healthier and healthier, and I had energy. But then in the fall of 2015, I found out that the cancer came back, and it had gone to my bones, and it was shocking. It was devastating. In my mind, I was moving on. I was ready to, move on with life and help grow my family. And here I was, given a death sentence. I was told I'd have 2 to 5 years to live statistically, and 5 years being doable, 10 years not likely. And so I knew I had about that time to live. And my world was rocked. My perspective on everything changed. And so I spent a while in shock, and just had a lot of tender moments, to be honest. And then I went through depression. I was really depressed, and I just couldn't handle knowing that I wouldn't be around for my kids and for my husband, that they wouldn't have a mom. And so that was just devastating to me. And I didn't, I didn't know how to handle it. And eventually I got out of this depression through the help of some friends. And now I feel like I'm in a space where I have been through this experience and this trial, and I want to help other people with what I've learned. And I want to share what I've learned. I want to share my perspective with other people. And that's my mission. That's what I want to do now.
Yeah, and that's why we have you here today, which I'm really excited to hear. It's such an incredible story and such an incredible journey, and I don't know that any of us would know how we would react or how we would feel. And so really kudos to you for coming through the way you have and deciding to make a difference. And it makes me super emotional. But really, so amazing that you want to be able to lift up and inspire other people and make a difference in their life. Because I just think that's amazing. It's wonderful that that's what you want to do with some of the time that you have left. So thank you for that. Thank you for being here, and thank you for being willing to share.
Yeah, Stephanie, I'm so, I hate cancer. I wish I didn't have it. I'd do anything not to have it. But, I'm so grateful for what it's taught me. I'm so grateful that I have this urgency to live my life well and to change my priorities and wake up and and live life how I should. I really am grateful for it. And it sounds odd, when I tell people that, but I really am. And I just feel like so many of us are distracted and we're caught up in things that do not matter. And so this trial has really helped me. And I don't do this perfectly, but I'm trying to get better in prioritizing what is really important. What is really important? My husband, my kids. I mean, there's other things that are important, but nothing is more important than that. And I want to help other people realize that without having to go through an experience like this. I really think that that people can, to wake up and realize, every day that we have is just a bonus day. Every day that we have we're so lucky. We don't know when our time is up. And so, make memories with family. That's what it's all about.
For sure. And that's a key thing I think that all the time. I don't know how much time I have with my family. It could be a day, it could be years. We don't know. And trying to remember that on a daily basis is a struggle because just like you said, we get busy, we get distracted by things that don't matter. So if you were to sit down with one of my listeners for lunch, I actually had this as a question for the end, but we're going to jump to it because it fits here. If you could sit down with one of my listeners for lunch or, to grab a bite to eat or just to visit, what would your advice be to them? Or her? Most of my listeners are women.
So my advice to one of your listeners would be start with the end in mind. So something that we don't do a lot in our society is talk about death. And I think it's okay. I think it's okay to talk about death. I think it's okay to plan, to prepare. I think it's okay to think about what's going to happen after I die. And whatever it is to that person, whatever they believe, I think they really need to take a look at that and to evaluate what it is they believe. And if they believe, whatever it is, to use that as motivation to live life. And so for me, I believe that this life on earth is such a tiny part of my existence that motivates me to not worry about the little things. I don't need to worry about what I look like all the time. I don't need to worry about judging someone. And I need to worry about forgiving someone. I need to worry about giving someone the benefit of the doubt because everyone's trying the best that they can. And I need to worry about my relationship with the people I love. And I think if you have the end in mind, then you can start realizing that every day you have it's like borrowed time. And that every day you have is an opportunity to get better and to live life to the fullest. Something that we did this past Christmas is we didn't buy any of our kids elaborate gifts. We shopped at a thrift store for our kids and got them simple gifts, but we put money into a family vacation. It's pretty simple. We went here in Utah to Midway, and we stayed in a hotel for a few days, and we did fun activities with our kids because we want to create memories. And that's, I don't want to put an emphasis on buying things. I want to put an emphasis on making memories. And so that is what we're trying to do. And so I would encourage people to, live life as if they too had 5 years to live. Live life as if you knew you really think about what is the end and start living your life now how you want to do it.
That is so eloquent and so beautiful and perfect. And the best advice, I think, for anybody. And I think if we can remember that on a daily basis, our lives will be so much richer, so much more blessed, and so much more fulfilling on a daily basis if we can each day think of that and think if I only had 5 years, what would I do today? What would I do at this minute? How would I react with this situation?
Yeah, and I guarantee every one of us would change. We'd change something if we had that in mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely. We had in our family, and it's something that I've not talked about on this podcast. My husband was diagnosed with kidney failure just over 10 years ago. And at first he was told that he wasn't going to be able to get a transplant. And giving someone that's in their early 30s, a sentence of having to have dialysis on a daily basis in order to live, it changed our perspective, and it changed our life, and it changed how we decided we were going to live once we got that second chance. And it does change you to the core and makes you reevaluate and rethink every situation. Mm-hmm. And I think it's so good to have that reminder again, because it's, like you said, it's so easy to get distracted and caught up in things that don't matter.
Yeah.
Let's talk a little bit about how you're documenting this journey, because I know there are several different ways. You started a Facebook group first thing. That's what you did first, right?
Yeah.
Or a Facebook page.
Yeah, I had a Facebook page. I noticed that I had to tell people all the time what was going on. So I'm like, you know what? I just need to create a platform where I could just say what's going on and then everyone knows. So I had a Facebook page called I Got Breast Cancer. Ain't nobody got time for that. And so that's how I, kept people updated on what was going on. And I realized, I actually kind of like writing and telling my story of what's going on. I had no idea before that I liked writing. I hated English. And anyway, so that was really good for me as an outlet and just therapeutic to get my feelings out. And so I started that. And then I started to realize that I wanted to help other people that might be in similar situations. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll, start a blog where I help other people who are maybe a few steps behind me in their cancer journey. But I quickly realized as I wrote and shared with people that it wasn't just for people who are going through cancer. It was honestly more for people who weren't and who almost needed this, wake up call of, man, that's how I need to live my life. And that's the perspective I need. And so that's how it kind of evolved.
Yeah, I love reading your blog, and you are a very good writer. Especially,
Thank
for
you.
somebody that didn't like English, which I can totally relate to. I've read through several posts on your blog, and just really, yeah, you're a very good writer. I loved reading everything on there. So I'm glad that you're sharing. I'm really glad that you're sharing, and it's helped me as somebody that at this point in my life, I don't have a lot of people in my life who have had cancer. And so it's really good for me to be able to read it and understand that perspective. And I know as I get older, I'm only going to have more and more people in my life that battle this same battle. And I hope that I can be better prepared to be able to support and offer support. And, if someone in my immediate family or even myself, if we go through this, your blog is a great source of what to expect and what people go through as they're going through treatment as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, so you also documenting on Instagram. You've been doing some really fun things.
Yes. Oh my gosh. For my whole life, I've been the person that was the penny pincher, never did anything because I wanted to save money. And, I remember in college, all my friends were like going out to eat at nice restaurants. And I'm like, nope, I'm going to stay home and eat cereal because it's cheap and I don't care. And so that's how I've been. But you know what? I just I don't know how long I have to live, and I don't. What am I saving my money for? Like, at what point am I gonna be done? You know what I mean? It's so I just am like, you know what? And by that, I don't mean, I go out and buy like expensive toys and things. I spend my money on memories. That's what I'm doing. And so this year, starting with our Christmas vacation, we've just been planning trips, and I've been gifted so many things by so many kind people in my life. When I wrote my bucket list last fall, I wrote it, but I wasn't writing it with the intention that people would help me do these things, or that I'd actually get to do all of these things. It's just some things that I thought, I would really like to do this with the time I have left. I don't know if I will, but this is what I would like to do. Well, I'm like knocking things off left and right.
You
And
are.
so, one of the big things, one of the most worldly, I should say, things that I put on my list, because I have things that aren't, they're a little bit different, things I want to teach my kids.
Yeah,
And
you have a wide variety of things on your
yeah.
bucket list.
So, but the number one thing, honestly, that I wanted to do was go to the North Carolina at Duke basketball game. And I'm a huge basketball fan, obviously. And honestly, that's like the biggest game. People do not get tickets. You can't get tickets. It's sold out for years. One ticket was being sold for $17,000 to this game. I mean, it's a tiny arena, and it's the biggest rivalry in sports. So no way ever did I think I would actually go to this game. But some people found out, the BYU coaches who were my coaches found out that was on my bucket list. They reached out to the Duke coaches, and they were all in, and they made it happen. And I had this fantasy week, this basketball fantasy in North Carolina. I couldn't have dreamed of a more incredible week than what I had. So I did that in February.
Yeah, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. And you just got back from New Zealand too.
I just got back from New Zealand.
Yeah.
Lord of the Rings land.
Yes. And you were able to cross a couple of things off of your bucket list, I think.
Yeah.
Down there.
Yeah. So I was invited to play basketball in this tournament there. And so first of all, I had to get in shape just to play. I mean, I've been battling cancer and having babies for the past 6 years of my life. So I played in a basketball tournament in New Zealand. I mean, after the last game, I broke down and cried because I did that.
Yeah.
A year ago, if you would have looked at me, I was not in any kind of shape to play basketball, to exercise, and I played against the national team of New Zealand, the former national team, and I did pretty well. And that was just so cool that I have been able to get back in shape to play. While we were there, we went on adventure after adventure. We went skydiving in New Zealand, which I put that on my bucket list, but that was seriously a joke. Like, I really did not want to go.
That's what I thought. And then I saw your Instagram pictures of you actually doing it.
Oh my gosh, that was crazy.
That would be terrifying.
It was terrifying the whole way down. If you see pictures of me, I'm like freaking out. My face is hilarious. But it was so cool. It was unreal. It felt surreal. Like I really wasn't falling out of the sky. It was the highest drop in New Zealand. It was 75 seconds of free fall, which is nuts. Like a 5-minute fall. I mean, it was crazy.
Terrifying.
Yeah. But I'd do it again. You know what?
Would you?
I would do it again. I would just tell him, please don't spin me. I don't want to throw up.
Yeah. Oh.
I got nauseous from the spinning. So if you ever go skydiving, tell them to not spin you.
No spinning, please. Yeah. It's incredible, really incredible. And so you're posting stuff on Instagram, and you have a lot of text that you post there too. They're kind of like mini blog posts.
Yeah.
A little bit where you're posting details and things like that. So that's another way that you're documenting.
Yes.
Everything. Is there anything else that I'm not aware of?
No, it's mostly Instagram, which feeds into my Facebook and then also my blog. Yeah. Yeah, my Instagram really is like a mini blog. It's documenting what I'm doing, as much as I can. And so I enjoy that. I enjoy telling the story of it and not just a picture and a couple words. I enjoy telling the emotions behind what was going on.
Yeah.
I want that because I want that for my kids. I want my kids to know because I want them to know me. And then, but also I want to help others. I want to help inspire other people. I really feel strongly about that.
For sure. And you're doing that. It's really, I'm just grateful, really grateful that you're doing everything that you are, because it is so inspiring on so many levels. Just the way you're living your life and inspiring for us to be able to remember, but also just to be a good person and be kind and all of those really good things. Put our family first. It's so good. And you, I wanted to mention, you took your mom with you, right, to New Zealand?
I didn't take my mom.
Why did I think it was your mom with you?
My friend Maria is from New Zealand,
Uh-huh.
and her family lives there, and her mom is there. So I probably mentioned her mom a lot.
Okay, that could be it.
Yeah.
That's probably what it was.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, fun. So you went to New Zealand all alone?
All alone with my two of my teammates, college teammates, and then new people that I met. So yeah.
So brave. I mean, talk about daring greatly and doing, because that would be scary for me, I think. But yeah. I guess you knew your teammates before, right?
Uh-huh.
And so you had been able to play with them and stuff before going?
So two of my teammates I know from BYU when we played together there. But the other four I did not know. And so it was an adventure. It was totally an adventure. And I just feel like my whole life I've always said no to things because I was too scared, or I didn't have money, or at least I didn't think I should spend money on that, or what would I do with the kids and blah blah blah. We have so many excuses, and I just feel like, you know what? I just need to start saying yes to adventures and to these things that could potentially be like such great memories.
And that's what I can see myself not wanting to do that for the exact reason that it would be scary. It's a scary thing. You don't know people, but what an amazing experience it was. And I encourage people to go look at your Instagram and read through, because you made some amazing connections with people. You formed some new friendships and relationships. And that's what this life is all about.
Absolutely. You mentioned that one of my favorite things about New Zealand is how kind the people are. This one friend of my friends, so my one friend Maria is from New Zealand. One of her friends came to our games, and he played on the national team, the national men's basketball team. They're called the Tall Blacks. He walks up to me right before the game, and he says, "Hey, I want you to have this." And he gave me the sweatshirt off of his back.
Wow.
And it was one of the Tall Black sweatshirts that only those players get, and I mean, that's just how the people there are. And if I wouldn't have, been brave enough to go on this adventure, I wouldn't have met so many people like him that just gave of themselves and accommodated us and hosted us and just were so kind.
It's so great. I love hearing all of the stories.
I love the people of New Zealand. Yeah. Kiwis are awesome.
So good. So great. Okay, tell me a little bit about, if you don't mind, a little bit about your photos. You're taking tons of photos. What do you use for your primary cameras?
Okay, so this is where I need you.
Oh, good. Yay.
So I have a GoPro. Someone gave us a GoPro for Christmas. One of my mission companions, actually, one of my good friends who I lived with in Portugal, she gave me a GoPro, and because I wanted to document everything that we would be doing, I knew this year would be full of adventures, and I wanted to document it. So I have a GoPro, and then I use my phone. And I actually recently bought a new phone, the iPhone 7, with the most gigs possible.
Good for you.
because I was so sick of taking pictures and then finding out I didn't have any storage.
Yeah.
And so I just didn't want to think about. I knew I would be documenting my life from here on out and taking pictures all the time. And so I didn't want to run out of storage. So I have, what is it, 264 gig? I'm trying to look. 256. I have that. And so I've been taking pictures nonstop since, around Christmas, and I haven't ran out. But last week I ran out of storage on the iCloud.
Okay, yeah. That makes sense. Just upgrade it. It's only a couple bucks to upgrade it, but
I have upgraded it once. Can I just keep upgrading it then?
I think so, yeah. Yeah. I've got 256 on my phone as well, and I've got a whole lot of pictures on there. 18,000, I think, on my phone.
Yes.
And I think I pay like $5 a month for iCloud storage.
Oh, okay.
But one of the other things that I would recommend that you do, because your photos are, iCloud isn't a true backup. It's a backup for if there's a disaster with your phone, but it's not a true backup. So I would also set up Google Photos on your phone, because it will run in the background and automatically back everything up that's on your phone as well. You've got it on there?
I'm trying.
Okay, good. It's working.
Yeah.
It's working for you in the background.
Yeah, it's the problem is I have to leave the app on for it to run. Is that right?
Well, it backs up faster if you leave it open.
Okay.
But it should automatically back up. I've noticed though, if I'm at home, when I was running my big backup, my first backup, if I was at home for a really long time, it would sometimes go to sleep. And so then I just have to open it back up. Because it does trigger automatically if you leave your house and then come back. That's usually what triggers it to start backing up again.
Okay.
But if you're home for, I'm sometimes a homebody and might not leave my house for a day or two, then sometimes it'll fall asleep. But if you leave it open, it for sure backs up faster.
Okay.
And my backup took me a few weeks to do.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but I went out of town in between, like in the middle of it. I went out of town for 10 days and I wasn't connected to Wi-Fi at all while I was out of town. And so it wasn't doing anything for those 10 days. But once I was at home, I would say, so depending on if you have 17,000 photos, do you have about that many?
Yes.
Okay.
It says 16,708 items left.
I was a good guesser.
Yes, that was.
Yeah. So and depending on what the speed of your internet is, if you have fast internet, it might take you a week or two to get it, a couple weeks to get it all done.
Okay.
A lot of it.
But I can be on any Wi-Fi, right? Or do I have to be on
Wi-Fi.
my home?
No,
okay,
any
yeah.
Wi-Fi.
Okay.
Yeah. When I was traveling, we were staying with my in-laws, and they only have a cellular hotspot for their Wi-Fi.
Oh, okay.
And those are limited data, and so I didn't want to increase their data a ton by connecting to their hotspot. Okay, yeah. And so that's why I was off of Wi-Fi for a good 10 days. But, which is torture. They didn't consult me before they decided to get rid of their regular Wi-Fi. I don't know what.
That was sneaky of them.
It was super sneaky. Yeah. So I think once you get Google Photos up and running, that will be perfect for you. And the thing that I love about Google Photos has the assistant started making you little things?
Yeah, I was looking at that because I was listening to one of your podcasts talking about it. And so I thought, I've been looking at the assistant. I had no idea because I've had Google Photos before, but I don't know. I just didn't really understand it. Yeah. And I was worried that if I deleted a photo there, that it would delete it from my cloud. And it's all so confusing to me. And so this is why I need you.
Yeah. That deletion thing can be super confusing, actually. For sure. And it can be scary because you don't want to have things deleted permanently. But you can, if you delete often, see, I even have to stop and think about it. And I have a little cheat sheet in one of my classes that people can print up, in my paid class that people can print up to use or save to their phone to use. So I can send you that as well to refer back to for the deletion. But if you delete in Google Photos, it does not delete it off of your phone. But if you delete it off of your phone, it will delete it in Google Photos.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
But what about iCloud?
Because yes.
I'm paying for this iCloud storage, so...
Yes, but if you delete it off of your phone, it deletes it out of iCloud. And that's why iCloud isn't a true backup.
Oh, but Google Photos is.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna need to take your course because honestly, like I've said, I have a GoPro and I got this phone because I want to document my life.
Yes.
And I want to, have it online so that my kids can always have it. But I also, I do chat books, but I would be interested in buying nicer books, hardback, and more quality photos to have. Mm-hmm. To have these memories. And I would love to go back and get organized throughout the years, of our family. So I do have those intentions that I want to do because it is so important to me. And so it's like when I was getting married, the most money I spent was on a photographer because I want those memories and I want them to be like quality, right? Like I don't care about anything else.
I totally agree.
Yeah, so it's so important to me. And so I'm so glad to be talking to you and getting to know you better because this is something that is important to me. I just am it's overwhelming and I don't know where to start. And I have this nice GoPro that I know has so much capability that I don't even know.
Yeah.
What to do. And so I want to make videos. I have an intention for every trip that we've been on, I want to make a really cool video with music and have that like on a YouTube channel. But I haven't done that. I have, since I've got the GoPro for that Christmas vacation, I haven't done anything with it. I just have the videos and I just need to get on it.
Yeah. So, and this is what's so great because in this day and age, there's so many tools for you to be able to create those videos in minutes or seconds even. And Google Photos will create them for you even. But, so a couple of my favorite tools, if you want to take some of those GoPro videos and do some things with them, I really do like Google Photos for editing and putting videos together with photos and or videos and adding my own music. You can go in and create your own movie just by going to the Movies tab in Google Photos. Let me get in there and I'll talk you. If you tap on the,
the assistant?
Tap on the assistant and then tap on movie. And then you can select up to 50 photos or videos. And I was able to make mine for my mom. I did a custom one. They had that Mother's Day tool where it would automatically make you a Mother's Day movie in Google Photos. But I wanted my own thing. I wanted it done my own way. So I went through and selected 50 photos of my mom with her kids and then added my own music. And I was able to make it about 2 minutes long. But also iMovie on your phone. Like, I can't use iMovie on my Mac for some reason. It's too complicated for me.
That's how I feel.
Yes.
I use it on my tiny little phone. Yes. And, like, my little fingers are making this movie on iMovie because I don't like to do it on my computer.
Yeah, it's just way easier on your phone. The app is way easier, I think, on the phone than the app on the Mac. So, for sure, that as well. And then, if you want, I'd be happy to... just give you my Heart of Photo Fabulous class, which is, it doesn't take very much time to go through the whole class, but that would get you making some pages if you wanted to, where you could put your, in the Project Life app, your photos, your journaling, so that you have the words there together, and then you could order the higher quality books like you want. If that's something that you're interested in.
Yeah.
Doing, for sure. The great thing about it is that it all only takes a few minutes. And you can have some really good quality photos and books and your memories. And then also, I would recommend seeing about getting your blog printed up in a book.
Oh. Okay.
Because I think that would be a great... There's just something about having things printed, having the blog there, but having something printed that your kids, because I know you've got a son too, that your kids can flip through and read. I
Mm-hmm.
think it's a wonderful thing. It's magical to have it in print.
Yeah. I guess because there's always the fear of, okay, is it really going to be there in 20 years? I don't know. You know,
Yeah. Yeah,
I
for
think we all
sure.
have that fear that it might not be on the World Wide Web.
Right. Because people, I mean, Google can change things. All companies can change. They can decide to change features, and that's why I always say you need to be backed up in more than one place online, more than one cloud place, so that
Mm-hmm.
if companies change things, you've got your backup there. But yeah, I love having my printed books, and I have books that I've printed, photo books that I've printed with Adorama pics 10 years ago, over 10 years ago, that still look brand new.
Really?
Yeah. And I leave them out. I don't put mine in a closet. I leave them out in a bin on the floor for everyone to go through whenever they want. They get kicked around, they get stepped on, but they still look brand new because they're just that good of quality.
Yeah. Yeah, I heard you talking about the Adorama. I want to look into that.
Yeah, and you can also, with Adorama, you can slurp over your Instagram account and have your photos there and then copy and paste your journaling as well
Mm-hmm.
into a book that way, which might be, I think that would be really good for a great way for you to document things quickly and easily too.
Yeah, like it's like a nice looking chat book.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
it's a much higher quality.
Okay.
Yeah, because it's a lay flat photo book, and then the pages they're like almost, the cardboard books that kids have. They're almost that thickness. They're
Mm-hmm.
super thick cardstock
Okay.
photo
Oh,
paper.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a photo paper too. It's like photo quality, not
Uh-huh.
just paper.
Yeah.
So there's a few ideas, but I'm happy to be your go-to consultant anytime you have questions or need help with anything so that we can get all of these adventures that you're going on documented easily,
Mm-hmm.
quickly.
Yeah, because I have a lot more adventures coming up. So
I'm excited. What do you have coming up? Let's hear.
okay, so next week, my kids don't know, but we're going to Florida
Yay!
and Disney World, SeaWorld, Universal. It's actually, we're going with a cancer retreat that's gifting it to us.
That's incredible.
So incredible. And then, we've got family reunions this summer. And then I'm going to be going to a cancer retreat in Hawaii, a surfing
Wow.
retreat in November, which I'm super excited about.
How fun.
So we've got a few here and there, Yellowstone as a family, and we want to do the Mediterranean cruise next year. So my husband and I, so we'll be doing that.
And that's something you guys have talked about and dreamed about for a long time, right?
Yeah, that's my ultimate vacation. For sure. That's like the number one thing I've always wanted to do as far as vacation. So yeah. We both lived in Portugal. And so we want to go on the cruise, but then also spend some time in Portugal and throughout Europe. So yeah, just so many things that we are doing. I want to document. And I've never been the mom that takes pictures, but this has forced me to do it. And I'm so glad because I'm learning a lot, and I'm just so glad I have all these pictures now for my kids to see someday.
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective shift you've had, I think, as a result of this. That photos are important.
Yeah. Yeah, and I want to be organized about it, not just have 17,000 photos on my phone, but I want them to be somewhere where we can look through them and have them organized and just have the best ones, because sometimes I'll take like 20 pictures of the same thing, which is so lame.
Yes, I do it.
But then to have, the best one and just have it really organized in a book, in a video for my posterity.
I love it. I love hearing that. I think it's really great wisdom for everybody. So good. And I'm not even saying that lightly. Let me be your person to help you get this done, because I know it's important too. And And I want you to be able to do it. And I want you to be able to do it without spending a lot of time doing it.
Yeah.
So for sure, let me help you with that. And I'm excited that you're going to Disney World. Disney's one of my favorite places in the world. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I was just there a couple weeks ago and I'm headed back in June. So
I guess you do love it.
It's a little ridiculous, quite honestly. But yeah, I'm excited to see those pictures pop up on Instagram. I can't wait for you to experience it.
Okay, yeah. I went when I was a little kid and that's it. So it should be amazing.
It'll be magical.
Yay! Yes, it always is.
Yeah, that's so great. Melanie, thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it. I've enjoyed visiting with you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been fun.
Yeah, I want to remind our listeners one more time that you can be found at 5yearstolive.org, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then Melanie Day on Instagram. Is there anywhere else?
That's it.
Okay.
That's where I am. Yep.
Okay, perfect. So you can follow along with Melanie's journey and be sure to reach out to her and let her know how inspiring it's been to hear her today on this show. Thank you again. And we'll see you next time on Modern Photo Solutions.